this was supposed to be the first meeting. So. That's right, I can't. I'm okay, knock on wood. Who do you go to, Peter? Becky, who do you use? Oh, Dr. Deere. That's not fun.
How are you? I'm Jason. Who might you be? Hey, David. It looks like Kyle's joined us.
Okay, 5 is good, it's online.
Hey, David. Welcome. Give me a second to get all the. Stuff started.
Where do y'all want me to start?
In the seat. The last choice. Maybe just one. But just
Exactly. I do.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm down there on the phone. It's funny. It's been watching this. Yeah. If it's raining, yes. She's up there, jump there. Well, just last, you know, we couldn't go back and try. But anyway, then she go back to my work. It was unspot. Yeah, freaking ice cream. That's why I was never good on a Saturday. You know.
zoning cases. And the first one, I want to spend a little bit of time on, and that is item 5 in FY 24-16 ZC. This is in the Hilldale Estates neighborhood over by West Temple Park. And this is a city initiated rezoning. And so just wanted to spend a little time talking about that because this is not your typical zoning case. We don't do a lot of city initiated rezoning, but it made sense, we thought, in this case, because these rezonings are, well, it's really tied to the plan development, the 2016 or 2006 most recent PD for that area. And there have been multiple over the years. But back then, all residential development was on septic. And so since then, sewer has been extended by different property owners. And I mean, the city made it available through development to the north. And so it really has opened up other opportunities so that the 11,000 square foot lots, or combining two 5,500 square foot lots, because the whole neighborhood are 5,500, 50 by, or 55 by 50 by 110, so 5,500. And with the ability to extend sewer, makes a lot of sense in our mind to be able to support development on the 5,500 square foot lots rather than still requiring the combination, the replat of two. And so that's what this is about. We've had inquiries that came to us and we thought, well, this is something that others are probably going to want in the future. So let's, we talked about it quite a bit internally, different, relevant departments, and didn't see any issues. So we just added some conditions that we thought might address any issues, including if they do extend it, they need to extend it all the way to the corner of the lot so that whoever comes in next then would have to extend it to the corner of the lot, similar to our street projection requirements, stub outs, to make sure that, look, you build your street, and whoever's responsible then it has to extend it all the way to the property line. And then other items such as requiring some trees. And we, of course, notified everybody within the boundary and then within 200 feet outside of it. We didn't get any official responses in opposition, but we did receive a phone call, and I think it was today, or maybe it was forwarded from over the weekend. Either way, somebody, which I expected to hear more, quite frankly, but concerns from people that had a certain set of rules, didn't have sewer available, but they went ahead, replatted 2 lots into one, or on septic. And, and so this is an opportunity they obviously didn't have. But in order to try to offset that too, of, hey, not only these other folks would be able to build perhaps 2 homes on the same, on 2 lots, but to also ensure that at least those homes couldn't be 2-story and looking into those other neighbors' backyards. So that would kind of help, because all the other homes pretty much in that neighborhood are 1-story. Because they were larger lots, they didn't really need to go 2-story. So that was a condition that we thought and to suggest. And this request had come to us by somebody who wants to build. So it was not something that we just decided, hey, let's do this. Well, it was in response to a request for 2 different lots to say, okay, more are likely to come. Let's see if we can address it all at one time.
So are we gonna see, so initially it was 5,500 square foot lots.
They're all, yes, they're all
2006.
yes, exactly. They were all in
Did they-
95, I think. when it
Okay.
was-
Did they have to replat those to 11,000 square foot lots?
Well, originally it was,
Secondary?
originally it was actually 3 lots.
Okay,
So it was actually, I guess what, 16,000. So originally that was what was required, and I
Okay.
guess presumably determined by septic laws at the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, not sure in 2006 why 11,000 was all of a sudden acceptable, because current septic standards, minimum is half acre. But those lots had been considered grandfathered in the past by the county sanitarian to allow two lots to be combined and still get septic as long as it meets all the other standards in their permitting process.
Are you guys expecting to see a bunch of replats coming through for some of that?
Don't think so, just because of, it certainly wouldn't happen quickly. But perhaps, and I guess when we give the presentation, and Mark is the case manager, he's sick today, so I'll present it, and we can work through some of that together, even looking at the aerial, just to see, okay, what's vacant near there, to get an idea of what property owners would it make sense to do that, extend it, and because that's not cheap to be able to extend sewer. But it would be at the property owner's expense. So anything else on that? Okay. And then the other zoning case, 24-19-ZC. This is located at 3404 South Kegley Road. And this is a conditional use permit for an auto storage business. And we do have a representative here in person, but also online. And, in case you had any questions, so this is this technically a franchise, or it's just, okay, an affiliate of a company that started in Atlanta, and I think there are 6, you said, or this would be the 6th? Okay, so yep, same folks involved in all of them, and they specialize in classic cars and sports cars, et cetera. So it's a club, private club, and it's really an interesting concept. So they would be able to answer any questions, well, now or when this comes up for the public hearing, as you all desire.
The only question I'm gonna have is, I did see that there was an option for a car wash station inside the facility. Okay, is there gonna be a requirement for oil water separation, stuff like that from the building permit?
That did come up during the DRC discussion.
Okay.
Not just with what's outside, but also what's inside. One of the things, and it's mentioned in the staff report, as far as just the internal leak containment, is there are no leaks. Remember the motor pool, and Sergeant Major walking around looking for drip pans. They have firm requirements for leak containment inside.
Okay.
So they did mention that, the drains, despite the drip pan requirement, that they would look at whether there needed to be some type of oil separator, containment system. So that could be reflected in the building permit review if there's a drain for the car wash. We can make a note of that for the file.
That'd be my only concern, just.
Yes. All right. Any other questions on those cases or anything in the director's report? Just update on any cases that you all have seen that have gone to council. For example, council on Thursday, the Jupiter Road zoning case. Of course, we had lots of neighbors express concerns about that project. Well, that is scheduled for city council this Thursday, and we can report back in terms of what action is taken. And really the only other item that I wanted to point out, Debbie Mason from our city engineer's office is with us. I think Debbie is going to try to join us regularly, just in case there are public works or engineering questions And, you know, we can get a little bit more detail from her than we're able to provide just as it comes up. So appreciate her assistance and support from the Public Works Department. She knows a lot.
All right, Brian, thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Could I get a volunteer for the invocation and the pledge?
Do the pledge.
All right, Ms. Gover, can we have any affidavits? Correct. All right, any additional business? If not, we'll close the work session at 5:26 PM.
Five instead of three, because like aerobic intrafamiliar systems got more popular over. So I've sold some lots in there, and I've done 3 in a package and 2 in a package, and I kind of had to learn all about it. It's been like 10 years ago. But. Of course, now that's like a $20,000 septic system now. It was, yeah. Used to, you could get a conventional system for about 5,000 or 6,000, you know.
Brian, is there a clicker out there?
Yeah.
You want to test that when we have a minute?
Yeah, there's.
They didn't do it.
Present Mark's case.
Yeah, it's just one more thing to break. Yeah.
It's got the dome, the plug-in part of it.
No. It's probably plugged in. It's a logic.
Yeah. Yeah. One of those is it. There you go. Yep. Yep. Good now. I just gotta make sure I click on that part of it so that it activates the clicker.
Okay.
So, think it's something down there. Well,
They're all either close to the road. Fine, and all the ones at the end of the roads, another 4 or 8 houses, we're all just over 200. But like. Our first. Oh, the thing is. All right, good evening, everybody. I will now call the April 1st, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting to order at 5:30 PM. Ms. Kathy Gover, can we please get a roll call?
Yes, good evening and welcome to the April 1st, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Commissioners, please state present if in attendance. Commissioner Morales. Present. Commissioner Walker.
Present.
Commissioner Giraldic.
Present.
Commissioner Krause.
Present.
Commissioner Smith. For the record, Commissioner Smith is not present. Commissioner Jeans. For the record, Commissioner Jeans is not present. Commissioner Carney. For the record, Commissioner Carney is not present. Vice Chair McBride,
Present.
Chair Marshall. For the record, Chair Marshall is not present. For the record, a quorum is present with 5 commissioners attending in person. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. If you'll now stand and join us, the invocation given by Commissioner Krause and the pledge led by Commissioner Walker.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and the opportunity to serve this community. We ask for your guidance and wisdom in all decisions that have to be made, and ask you to continue to bless those in attendance and the community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will now confirm the meeting agenda items. Are there any questions or comments? Since there's no objection, the meeting agenda items are approved by unanimous consent. Next, we'll call for, are there any public comments at this time? If there are, please limit those comments to 3 minutes.
Seeing no comments online, I'll take note that one of the applicants is online, as well as Councilmember Zoe Grant has joined us.
Sure. Sorry. Next, we'll move on to on the consent items agenda. On the consent agenda is the approval of the item for March 18, 2024 Planning Commission meeting minutes. If there are no objections, I will entertain a motion.
Second.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Morales and a second has been made by Commissioner Krause to approve item 4 on the consent agenda. Kathy, can we please have a vote? I messed it up. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We don't need a record vote for
Okay.
this, just, if there are no objections, the motion passes.
If there are no objections, the
The
motion passes. All right. Sorry about that, guys. My first time.
Sorry, be better to be extra careful than not. So
Yeah.
that's good.
All right. Next up is item 5, FY-24-16-ZC, hold a public hearing to consider a city-initiated rezoning to amend Plan Development Ordinance 2006-4112 to allow for the issuance of a building permit for single-family detached home on a minimum 1 lot measuring 50 feet by 110 feet, minimum of 5,500 square foot, where sewer is available, located within the Hilldale Estate subdivision, generally located north of Adams Avenue, west of South Pea Ridge Road, generally bordered by Alabama Avenue, Cedar Road, Cardinal Road, and Adams Lane. The case will be presented by Mr. Brian Chandler.
All right, thank you, Acting Chair McBride. And so here you can see the Hilldale Estates neighborhood, and of course the crosshatched area. That is the area subject to the plan development amendment. And so the original plan development was approved in 95 as plan development single family 3, allowed site built and industrialized housing with a minimum of 16,500 square foot lots, essentially 3 of the standard platted lots within that neighborhood. And that was for allowing for septic. And then in 2006, the plan development was amended to allow a minimum of 2 of those lots combined for 11,000 square feet, which is where we are now. And that too is subject to approval for septic system by the Bell County Health District. However, things have changed in the neighborhood, and because of the extension of public sewer from the neighborhood to the north, that provides opportunities for property owners to also extend public sewer for future development, which is why we're here. And also Mr. Paulino Castillo is representing the property owner at 8410 Alaska. And that was the request that had us look at this to say, okay, with the extension of sewer and additional requests are going to be likely. We don't know how many, but essentially the sewer right now is on the Mont Park, east of Mont Park. And so it would be a while before sewer would probably extend west of Mont Park, but we wanted to make sure we gave everybody within the neighborhood the same opportunity to potentially extend the sewer at their own expense and be able to have a house on a 5,500 square foot lot rather than 11,000. And so here are some photos of Hilldale Estates. One on the left, corner of Mont Park and Kansas Avenue. On the right, you can see West Temple Park. There's also the fire station near there as well. And so in terms of uses, this doesn't change anything related to the single family 3 uses that are already allowed, which are primarily just single family. But on the right, looking at the dimensional and development standards, you can see that that it would allow a minimum of 5,500 square foot lots for development of a single family, detached single family traditional home. The 20-foot front setback that's in the ordinance would still apply right now because that's but at the same time, we're referencing what's required by code. Maximum building height of 2.5 stories right now, but we would propose for those smaller lots to limit it to just a single story, because you do have the smaller lots, people are used to having the larger lots, so that those smaller lots are also not having the ability to look into the neighboring backyards. And so here's an important map looking at the existing water and sewer. So in addition to 8, 6, and 1.5 inch water lines, you have the 10-inch sewer line that you can see connects to the north, and that, up to through Alabama. And that is part of one of the Lake Point subdivisions. So as they extended sewer south, that provided an opportunity for other owners within this neighborhood to extend public sewer line. And you can see that it right now that's in the floodplain, which of course is the different shades of blue. And so that is, as I mentioned previously, east of Mont Park Road. And so the extension of sewer to the westernmost part of the neighborhood is not likely to happen soon, but incrementally, it may make financial sense for future property owners to do so. And just looking at compliance with future development plan, compatible uses and surrounding zoning. Yes, public facilities available, well, partially, which is the reason we're having this discussion. Compliance with the thoroughfare plan, and looking at property owner notification, we sent out a total of 244 notices to property owners within the PD amendment boundary, but also an additional 85 within 200 feet of the neighborhood. And then a notice to BISD is the school district here. 2 notices representing 4 properties were returned in agreement. We have received 0 in disagreement. However, we did receive a phone call recently from a property owner who expressed concern because back, I guess, when he and his family developed it, they had to combine the 2 lots. Sewer was not available, and I gathered he would prefer for the others to be subject to the same rules. Newspaper notice was printed on March 21st. And so staff recommends the following conditions with the approval: that sewer must be available or extended at the expense of the owner to the farthest point of the property line. So they don't just extend it to the nearest point, and then their neighbor to the west, in order to expand, would have to expand it behind most of the neighbor's property. Let's have it extended the full way and then keep that as the consistent neighborly thing to do. Require a minimum of 2-inch caliper or diameter at breast height trees. They could put them both in the front yard. They could put one in the front yard, one in the back. But once again, just an option to be able to provide just a little bit of additional privacy. The 1-story maximum on the 5,500 square foot lots, as we discussed previously. The existing reference in the plan development ordinance to Bell County Sanitarian shall be replaced with the Bell County Health District. So it's the organization and not the individual. If sewer is not available, on-site sewer facilities or septic must be utilized, and they must apply the septic regulations that are implemented by the health district at that time, at the time of application. And then all other conditions for ordinance 2006-4112 where applicable would still remain in effect. And happy to answer any questions. I know Paulino can also answer any questions on behalf of the property owner at Alaska.
Thank you, Brian.
You bet.
Commissioners, are there any questions or comments? All right, this case requires a public hearing. We will now open the public hearing. If you wish to speak and are attending in person, please come to the podium. If you are viewing the meeting online, please virtually raise your hand, provide your full name and city of residence for record.
Seeing none online.
Listen. Okay. Seeing none in person, we will now close the public hearing. If there are no more questions or comments, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve FY 24-16-ZZ with the staff conditions.
Second.
Kathy, can we please get a vote?
Yes, Commissioner Morales,
Aye.
Commissioner Walker,
Aye.
Commissioner Jurassic,
Aye.
Commissioner Krause,
Aye.
Vice Chair McBride.
Aye.
The vote is unanimous and the motion carries.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 6, FY-24-19-ZC. Hold a public hearing to discuss and recommend action on a conditional use permit to allow an auto storage business at 3404 South Kegley Road, Temple, Texas. This case will be presented by Transportation Planner, Mr. Deckman.
All right, good evening. Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. On screen, you see the council schedule for this case. Will go for first reading and public hearing on April 18th and second reading on May 2nd. So this is located in Southwest Temple on Kegley Road, not too far off of Charter Oak Drive, Midway, and I-35. If you know where the old FedEx facility is, that's the building we're talking about tonight. So it's currently zoned commercial, and the use table in the UDC does require a conditional use permit for an auto storage business in commercial zoning. So that's why we're here tonight. So the specifics of the buildings you see on the aerial photo, it's a 9,000 square foot warehouse. They'll be proposing an interior renovation for a controlled access facility for a private auto storage club. So E3 Storage is a private membership for people who own sports cars, collectible cars, or track cars, race cars that need a secure place to store them, and a facility where they can do some light maintenance. Now, this is not a chop shop. This is not an engine rebuild. It's light maintenance. It's very similar to what you would do in your driveway. Bolt on accessories, maybe rotate the tires. You could do some oil changes. Again, what you could do at your home. This is hobbyist level work. This is not an engine or transmission shop. There is a site plan that will show some areas for trailer parking. Some of these cars are not driven on public roads. So they have trailers that they transport them to places like Circuit of the Americas, for example. And then there'll be some landscaping required by the conditions of the CUP ordinance along the frontage of the building here facing Kegley. And we'll talk about that with the site plan. And this is located in Belton ISD School District. So the site plan shown here provides both the interior and exterior layout. So we'll start on the outside and work our way in. In the rear, they've shown some possible areas for trailer parking. The car wash that you mentioned is here on the outside. There's some member parking on the front outside the fence, but of course members could enter the gate, drive into their work on their vehicles as well. The landscaping will be on the grassy area in the front of the facility. Note that there is a Kegley widening project coming in soon. Staff said it makes sense to, that landscaping requirement can be deferred until after the road widening. That way they're not putting something in that ends up getting damaged. So there is an office on the front, and you can see that'll become the member lounge, some workspace in there. And on the interior of the building, you've got some flat surface parking spots, 10 by 20 feet, just one level. There's also what they call lift spaces. So you see up here, these are electric operated lifts, 9 by 18. To your question about leaks and oil runoff and my response about the drip pans, those lifts have a tray to contain leaks. And when we asked them about, the operation, the leak and the impact, they did mention specifically the trays on these lifts as well as the ones on the surface spaces. These are expensive cars. You do not want oil dripping on them. And their membership rules really clamp down on leaky vehicles. That David can correct me, but it could be grounds. If you can't keep your vehicle fluids inside the vehicle, you may be removed as a member. And then there's an example of some of the race trailers on the front line. There's some work areas, but most of the larger spaces, there's tool storage, and the members would work on their vehicle in the space that they rent. So here's a few photos of the site and the surrounding area. As you see, there's the facility, there's the gate, the big roll-up doors when it used to be a logistics warehouse. There's a home to the south behind a thick layer of trees, but you can see it in the corner of this photo. There is a back gate. This is one of the areas where the trailer parking may be. This is also going to be a kind of a blessing in disguise for the applicants. When that Kegley widening project takes place, they'll have the ability to use the rear gate to exit out onto Kegley Lane and then link over to 10 Bell Lane and navigate out around the construction project. So they'll be able to get the business up and running without necessarily having the front gate. And as you can see from the other two photos, both to the front and the rear, it's existing commercial development pretty much on all sides, except for the home that I showed you. So as far as future land use, it's all shown as regional commercial, which is focused on serving the automobile. So this would be compliant. Kegley Road is a minor arterial. Sidewalks would be required by the UDC, but those are coming in with the Kegley Road widening project. So it's compliant with the thoroughfare plan. It's a storage use. So Kegley carries, around 5,000 trips. That was the 2020 saturation counts. And I know there's some folks that will say that on a Friday afternoon, that gets higher as people detour away from I-35, and I can't say they're wrong. But this is not a high traffic use. There's not a private auto club use in the ITE tables that we use. So kind of look at the closest applicable use, warehousing. This would fit that. But I think the idea of warehousing, it's logistics, and there may be a lot more to and from trips and deliveries every day. And a small office would imply, employees and clients coming and going. They've said there may be 1 or 2 employees here on a daily basis, 3 to 5 members be there at any one time on average. So if we're strictly applying the ITE, it's still less than 100 trips a day. based on discussion with the applicant, it's probably going to be less than that. You know, there may be some big Saturdays when everybody's getting ready to go to a track. But it's still not going to be nearly as much of an impact as, say, a Starbucks or even an actual commercial auto maintenance facility like a Jiffy Lube or a Take 5, where you have constant flow of vehicles in and out of the facility. What about Kegley, you may say? That project is coming forward. The bids will be opened. They've advertised for the contractors to bid on the project. The bids will be opened on April 23rd, and the council award is projected for May 16th. Once council gives them the award, then the contractor will, set their start date. Can expect that to happen pretty quickly after the award. So construction should start in June. And what we're being told is that it will be completed September 25 for a cost of $13 million. And that's going to widen Kegley Road to a 2-lane road with the center turn lane, similar to what's been done up north of here. So existing utilities, this is a fully developed site and building. So the utilities are already there, connected with a 6-inch water line on both sides and 6-inch wastewater line, sewer line on Kegley seen here. So again, the building's already connected to utilities, so it's compliant there. We sent out 8 notices, received 3 back in agreement, 0 in disagreement, and the newspaper printed notice of the hearing on March 21st in accordance with state law and local ordinance. So to summarize, it is compatible with the future development plan surrounding uses, public facilities, and the thoroughfare plan, and staff recommends approval of the requested conditional use permit subject to the following conditions. Compliance with the site plan attached as Exhibit A, limiting work on vehicles to hobbyist level maintenance, and the full wording is in your packet. Prohibiting major vehicle servicing as defined in the UDC. Things like engine removal, tearing out the clutch and the transmission, working on the body or the frame or any welding, those would be prohibited. Prohibiting commercial maintenance service. This is a private club. It's not a for-profit vehicle maintenance facility. Requiring the landscaping along the front of the building. And again, we're going to let them delay that until the road work is complete. Minor changes to site plan may be approved by the Director of Planning, but significant changes would require approval by this commission and back to City Council again. So that concludes my presentations. I'll stand by if you have any questions.
Thank you, Jason. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Nope. All right, this case requires a public hearing. We will now open the public hearing. If you wish to speak and are attending in person, please come to the podium. If you are viewing the meeting online, please virtually raise your hand. Provide your full name and city of residence for the record.
Online.
Being none in person. We will now close the public hearing. If there are no more questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve FY-24-19-ZC as presented by staff.
Second.
Having a motion made by Commissioner Krause and a second by Commissioner Walker. Kathy, can we please get a vote?
Yes, Commissioner Morales.
Aye.
Commissioner Walker.
Aye.
Commissioner Jurassic.
Aye.
Commissioner Krause.
Aye.
Vice Chair McBride.
Aye.
The vote is unanimous and the motion carries.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Any further business, questions or comments? Nope. I have no. Meeting is closed at 5:54 p.m.